Hey guys, so I'm out looking for ostrich ferns, which are, we actually call them fiddleheads before they've fully unrolled, and they are kind of a delicacy, but the season is super short. And last weekend I found tons, so and even some that were like still kind of not ready yet, so I was hoping that a week later this weekend I'd be able to find more. And you can see that they're starting to be pretty unrolled. I've only found a couple that were still good, so hopefully I'll find some to show you guys shortly. I've got a ways to go yet, so let's see. So there are two kinds of ferns that grow here, and the ostrich ferns are the ones that make super tasty spring delicacies, and this other kind, which I actually don't know what they're called, but they're pretty easy to identify, and they are toxic, so you should not eat these ones. Just a sec, I'll show you. So you can see these guys have kind of a white fluff on them, and the stems are actually, can you see, fully like round. We do not eat those guys. So these are ostrich ferns, and you can see these ones are pretty unrolled. And compared to the other guys I showed you, you see the stems are like celery stalks. They are like half moon shaped. And they are not fluffy. So these are the ostrich ferns, and when they're ready to pick, they're like all curled up really tight close to the ground and have kind of a brown skin on them. I'll see if I can find some for you guys, but looks like we might have missed them. I found one. You can see this little bunch, how they grow in little bunches like this. And over there, there's some more little bunches. Well, if you look right down here, I don't know if you can see them, but whoop, there we go. So this is what they all look like when they're first growing and coming out of the ground, and that's what you wanna pick to eat. So, actually you can see, I think I got one here. This is a stump from one I cut last weekend. So on these bunches, if you want them to grow back well every year, you don't want to take more than 20% of the bunch. So, we could probably get away with taking, I usually take one or two off of the bunch, so I've taken one last week, so I could take one more this week. So I'm gonna get that little guy. I actually did not bring my tripod, so this is gonna be a little tricky, but I use my knife and just kind of come down low and cut through the stem and grab it. And you see it's tightly kind of wound up with this little brown skin on it. So the skin, you actually have to remove it as much, almost. You have to. So you got to remove the skin as much as you can, and they have to be really well cleaned. And you actually have to cook these, you have to boil them and change the water. So you have to boil them in two different waters, because they have I think it's a tannin in them, and they also grow in really kind of humid environments, so to make sure there's no bacteria or anything and make sure they taste good, you cook them and boil them in 2 waters, and then I like to kind of pan fry them with a little butter, and they are, oops, oh no, there he goes, and they are delicious, especially when they're fresh. Okay, so I'm back on the road. There's a bit of a breeze here, so the bugs shouldn't be too bad. Thought I'd show you what I managed to harvest. It's pretty late in the season already. Like I said, it's maybe a week, possibly two if the weather conditions are good, but last week was pretty much prime season, so my harvest was pretty small, but I'll just have to really savor them because these will be it till next year. So here you go, my little fiddleheads that I managed to get. You can see what they look like, just really tightly round with a little bit of that brown papery skin on them, so I have to wash that off real well and boil them twice, changing the water, and then fry them up with some butter for the deliciousness. Alright, so I'm home now and I've got my bountiful harvest in the sink of cold water, and now I'm going to make sure I get all that papery stuff off. I find this the easiest way to get it off because you can kind of rub it and then just swizzle it around and pretty much all comes off pretty easily. So basically do that with each one. Alright, so once I've pretty much checked them all, I actually drain the water in the sink and give them a rinse off under running water and toss them in the pot. That way if I missed any of that brown skin, I can really make sure you get it here.